Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So what I wanted to talk today about was how I set up my max effort lower and upper, and I'm gonna show you guys pretty much how I set it up, and how you guys can set up your own max effort. So what I want to do is I want to do a series of videos where I can just explain max effort, dynamic lower, and basically what I do in between to get my hypertrophy work. So I'm gonna explain that, and first I gotta run a couple of errands, and I will be right back with you guys. See you guys.
I was blinded and I don't see once again. Let the beat drop.
Hey guys, so basically this is how the max effort is gonna be. First of all, let's talk about what running a conjugate method program, what it is, and why I run it this way, and basically how I want you guys to think about it. Now, for those of you who have read books from Louis Simmons and have seen their style of training is very different. The way I adapted the conjugate method was basically from when I started doing squat every day. So I basically knew already what conjugate was. Then I went into the Mesthetics deadlift only, and then I went into the Mesthetics power system program. Basically, I've been running conjugate since I started training, basically. Didn't really know exactly what I was doing. I know I was going more into my weaknesses and stuff, but I basically didn't know exactly what I was doing until I kind of put a name to it, but with that said, Louis Simmons basically wrote a book of the conjugate method, and how he runs his conjugating Westside Barbell. Now they run it very different because most of these people are geared, so they have chains, bands, and all this other nonsense. And while that might work, I don't have that equipment with me all the time. I do have most of that equipment in Adelante, but when I'm not in Adelante, I'm basically running this program on a commercial gym. And for those who have been on a commercial gym before, know that it sucks. I'm basically doing my deadlifts and everything on bumper plates, and that shit sucks. But anyways, so my take on the conjugate method is kind of a mix of what squat every day was, what Mesthetics was, and I kind of made it into my own. It has been working so far for me, so the reason I wanted to do this is because I wanted to pretty much just bring it up to you guys, and hopefully you guys can benefit from it. Sorry if the lighting is a little bit off. I'm kind of driving pretty much I'm at work, so I'm going from one store to another, and it's just a little bit of a pain for me, but this is where I can squeeze some time for you guys and get some quality time with you guys. Anyways, max effort day conjugate basically is weak point training. So what you're going to be concentrating on is going to be on your weaknesses. Don't pick any stuff that it's your main lift, meaning your competition style stance or grip or whatever it is. Don't pick that. Pick something different. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick something completely different from your lift, and something that you're struggling on, and something that is gonna help you carry over to your main lift, which it could either be your regular conventional sumo, wide stand squat, whatever you're into, you know, that's what you're gonna choose. You're gonna choose something different. So this is how I run it. Deadlift, how my max effort lower looks like. Now max effort lower is a little bit tricky. Why? Because you can't max effort on deadlift and then max effort on squat. Now you can, and I have done it before, but now that I'm getting to higher weights, it's a little more taxing on my body, so I'd rather not. I'd rather separate it. So the way I do my max effort lower, basically, let's say first week I would max effort on squat, right? And I will have my deadlift variations and stuff like that, you know, for accessory work. And then following week, I will max effort on deadlift. And then I'll alternate. So squat, deadlift, basically until I complete a wave. Now, what this wave means, right? You can basically max to your 1 rep max every single week if you like. Obviously it has to be on a different variation, and that's exactly what I was doing in squat every day, and that basically brought out my squat. You know, I think I went up like 100 pounds on my squat. Obviously keep in mind that I was barely squatting, so but you can technically, you know, max effort every week to your 1 rep max. But me, I just want to kind of have more volume, more time on that variation, and I want to be able to, you know, just kind of master that variation a little bit. So the way I do it how Masthetics does, and they do a wave. Basically that wave is that they go up to a heavy set of 5s, then they go to a heavy set of 3s and a heavy set of 2. Now I have modified that a little bit, and what I like to do is I like to go to a heavy set of 5 or a 3, depending how I feel that day. If I feel a little bit taxed, I might do a heavy set of 5, still a grinder, but not as a, you know, like as a 3 or a 2. And then following week I would do a heavy set of 2, and then following week I would do a test, which it would be heavy set of 1. So I would do a 5-2-1, or I would do a 3-2-1. Lately what I've been doing is 3-2-1. One, because, you know, just kind of learn how to grind and learn to get off the fear of heavy weights does help. Psychologically helps you a whole bunch. When I stopped doing squat every day, I kind of concentrated on my deadlift. So basically anytime I put 2 plates on my squat bar, even though I could do 5, 6, 7 reps on it, 225 felt super heavy on my back. I even, you know, got scared for a little bit, you know, having 225. I'm like, oh shit. But, you know, and that's because I was not used to that much weight. You know, now you load up 3 plates on a deadlift, you know, you load up 315, even 405. I'm not scared, you know, I just go in and lift, you know, I just concentrate. And scary is being scared is kind of the last thing I do when, you know, deadlifting. That's because I'm so used to it now. Same thing goes for bench. I'm not really too scared of benching because I have been, you know, I have gotten heavy on it too. But it's just the squat, you know, I have been, you know, keeping, you know, 5 reps, 6 reps, 8 reps. I have barely gone even over 80%. So it's just been a little too comfortable with the squat that, you know, I kind of, you know, started to get scared again. So yeah, so basically what I'm doing now, like I said, is the wave 3, 2, and 1. I choose a variation. So for the squat, I realized that the front squat for me has a huge carryover to the deadlift, and that's just from trial and error that I kind of know this. So I realized that every time I front squat and I focus on my front squat, I get a huge carryover to my deadlift, and obviously that's gonna carry over to your squat. Why? Because your posterior chain is gonna have a lot more work done. So my first week, my first wave is gonna be on front squat. So I'm gonna max out on 3 reps, then I'm gonna max out on 2, and then I'm finally gonna max out on 1. After that I drop to 80%. So this is how you're gonna work. You're gonna drop to 80% of whatever max you just did. So let's say on the front squat, right, you did 100 pounds for 3 reps. So you're gonna drop to 80%. So basically that puts you at 80 pounds, right? So 80 pounds, you're gonna do, depending on fatigue, you're gonna do 3 sets of 5, or you're gonna do 5 sets of 3. It really all depends how you're feeling. I can tell you that once you start reaching your 2s and your 1s, that's when everything's gonna feel too heavy, and you're gonna start, sweating, and it's just gonna get crazy. So just keep in mind that, fatigue is gonna be a problem at first, but once you get over it, it's smooth sailing from there. But you max out, you drop to 80%, you do your 3 times 5, or you do your 5 times 3, with the same variation, so you get a little more volume in there, and then you drop in your accessory work. Now, because I'm doing variations, I don't want to just deadlift once a week, because then I'm dropping volume, and that's not good. So then what I do is I usually do my competition deadlift for 80% of my max, on my 1 rep max, and do it for 3 sets of 5, or again 5 sets of 3, depending on what my fatigue level is at. Usually for deadlifts I'm pretty good. In terms of fatigue, I haven't really gotten so bad, but right after that, then I choose my accessories. Now the accessories have to be isolation accessories where you really target your weakness. So if you're weak on your hamstrings, maybe RDLs should be something that you should be doing. Lately I've been doing a lot of GHRs, just because my hamstrings are weak, and now that I'm going up higher on my weight, it's starting to kind of be a little more noticeable. My speed off the floor has increased a lot, but now I'm seeing when it gets really heavy, when the grinders come in, I'm starting to have a little bit of a problem on the lockout. So couple of things have fixed in terms of me switching to hook grip and all this other stuff, but basically my hamstrings have a big say on it. So a lot of GHRs, I'm doing leg curls, I'm targeting even the quads afterwards. I'm doing a lot of lateral work. Basically what I do is I kind of do about 2 to 3 sets per body part. So let's say I choose my GHRs for 12 reps. Now be careful with the GHRs, guys. I do body weight. Now if you're a little stronger, you can add a little bit of weight, but don't go crazy and then start adding 25, 35, 45 pounds to it, because you can definitely tear your hamstring up doing that way. There are smarter ways of overloading your hamstrings, like RDLs and stuff like that. But for GHRs, try to keep it on body weight. Focus on the squeeze and all this nonsense. But I keep it between 12 to 15 reps, 3 sets. So I would do GHRs, then I would do some leg curls. I usually get some work on my conventional already, so that's why I just kind of do my conventional GHRs and then some leg curls. Then I switch over to some pull downs. Lately, something that I've been incorporating, and it has been helping me tremendously. I saw Dr. Deadlift pretty much incorporating this on his accessory work, and it's kind of like cheat rows. So basically you're going right on your competition deadlift style, and you just roll the weight. You're using a little bit of momentum, so yeah, you're not so strict on your form. Obviously you're still keeping your back straight and everything else, but you're using some cheat. Now what that's gonna do is that's gonna help you out with, obviously, getting your lats up and everything else, and that's gonna help your deadlift. So I've been using that lately, and I have seen some improvement on my deadlift. I feel a lot more comfortable. My hook grip is a lot stronger than when I started. Obviously my hands feel like shit, but it does feel stronger overall. Also, what I have been incorporating as well is shrugs. Now, I don't do this because, you know, I want to get my traps up. I do it because, one, I want to be able to kind of overload my traps and handling that much weight. So basically, the whole notion is that if I'm able to shrug what I'm deadlifting, then the traps are so used to handling this type of weight that at the end of the day, it's just going to be easy to get it off the floor. So I do a normal deadlift and I just shrug away, you know. So basically I'm up to 315 pounds on these. Obviously this is not my max, but you know, you have to pick a weight that is kind of difficult for you. I see a lot of stuff in the gym that, you know, they put it kind of like where like a rack pull is, and yeah, you'll be able to lift a lot more weight, but the thing is that that's not something that you can actually deadlift. So basically, you know, I'm literally deadlifting the weight and just shrugging it off. Obviously the more you start increasing the weight, the more you're going to start seeing more improvements, and you know, you're just gonna get rid of that oh shit factor like I mentioned to you guys before. And yeah, and you know, use some rows, you know, use specific accessories that you guys, you know, will benefit from. My accessories will be a lot different than your accessories. You know, you might have a different problem. Your lockout might not be a problem. You might be slow off the floor, or on the squat, you know, you might be slow off the hole. You know, once you know, you might have problems, you know, just bouncing off that hole. Or you might just be too slow coming down. It really all depends, you know, what you can do. But basically on the squat max effort, there's multiple variations. You have front squat, you have pause squat, you have wide stance, you have box squats. I mean, you have beltless squats, you have squats with wraps. I mean, the variations, to tell you the truth, guys, the variations are endless. It can be something as simple as changing your stance, low bar, high bar. You know, right now the way I have it set up is my first wave of front squat just finished. So now my second wave for my max effort is going to be low bar squat. Now I suck at low bar, but this is gonna help me out on my high bar when I'm ready to switch over to my high bar. Then when we go to the deadlift, so let's say first week is done, now we go to the deadlift side of the max effort wave. So again, you gotta pick something that you are struggling at. So if you're slow off the floor, like I've been mentioning on my videos before, I'm very slow off the floor. What I have been choosing and what it has been working for me 110% of the time, it's doing waves with deficit. I usually do it from a 3-inch deficit. Any higher than that is just kind of, I don't really see the benefit from it, but basically 3-inch deficit is kind of the sweet spot for me. It helps me get more leg drive. It helps me position a lot more. It helps me, you know, feel my hamstrings tighter. It just helps my form improve, and I have seen it improve as well. So my speed from, you know, for when I started, it has improved tremendously. You know, obviously when I'm, you know, at 95%, 100%, you know, obviously I'm gonna be slow. But you know what? From when I started, I'm a lot faster, and you know, I basically have to thank doing just deficits. So do the same wave. Heavy set of 3 first week. Following week, obviously you guys have squat, but you know, the following week, heavy doubles and a wave of heavy singles. So once you're done with that, basically that you should start already deloading, because that will put you at about of an 8 week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should put you about a 6 week program. So you should already start doing some deload after the program, you know, just to kind of get your body just kind of rested, and then you know, you should just hit up your main lifts and just test them out. But That's it. I mean, basically it's the same thing. So, you know, you choose the wave, whether you want to do 5-3-1s, 5-3-2s, you can do 3-2-1s on your max efforts. And then after that, just drop 80% and finish the variation. Either, you know, 3 sets of 5, or you do 5 sets of 3, depending on your fatigue. Choose your accessories. Don't just choose random stuff. Choose something that you can actually progressive overload on it. Again, my sweet spot, I leave it between 12 to 15 reps. I always leave a rep or two behind. This is, remember, you just kind of really killed yourself on that max effort. So you're not gonna have a lot on the tank, believe it or not. So, you know, just be careful of what you're using. You don't want to, you know, injure yourself and just, you know, mess it all up. But yeah, so you're gonna choose isolation work, and that's gonna help, you know, obviously your lifts. Do not choose your main lift. So if you're a conventional puller, you're not gonna choose conventional deadlift for your first wave. You're not going to do that. Again, you're not going to do that. You're gonna choose a variation of it. You can do pulse conventional, you can do deficit conventional, you can do conventional with chains, with bands, you can do block pulls. Whatever floats your boat, whatever is gonna help you hammer those weaknesses. Again, this is specifically for your weaknesses. So if you suck at something, do a whole lot of it. Once you get really efficient at it, one, you're not gonna be scared of the lift anymore, because the whole reason you're scared is because you're insecure. You're insecure because you're weak at that area, right? So now that you're more comfortable with it, you're ready to go. Like, think of it as the first time that you deadlifted. First time that you deadlifted, I guarantee you were scared of deadlifting because a lot of people tell you that it's bad for your back. Once you realize that, you know, you actually are good at deadlifting, or that you figure out your form, you felt a little more comfortable, and you started putting a little more weight into it, I guarantee you said, oh shit, you know what? Deadlifts are actually pretty good. They feel pretty good. That's exactly how you're gonna do it. So pick those exercises that are gonna hammer those weaknesses. I can tell you that if you're weak at a lockout, you're gonna do a lot of block pulls. You're gonna do, if you have bands in your gym, do bands, so you can put 100 pounds on the bands and, you know, just overload the top. Something that has been working out for me has been rack pulls, above the knee, below the knee, whatever you guys want to do. If you're slow off the floor, obviously a lot of hamstring work, and you're gonna do a lot of deficit work. You can even go as far as choosing a variation that you don't do. For example, if you're a conventional puller, you're gonna do sumo. That's gonna help you out. It's gonna carry over. Or if you're a sumo, do conventional. Everything, you know, is gonna work different in different ways, and that's just gonna have a good carryover. You can even do RDLs on, you know, max effort. Now, mind you, this program is not for beginners. Why? It's because you're gonna be maxing out, and if you're a beginner, most likely you do not know proper form. You most likely do not have an understanding as to, you know, how to test your 1 rep max, first of all. And I'd rather you guys stay to a progressive, to a linear program where you can just progress. And once you have a little more experience, then you can start going into your, you know, you can start trying to run conjugate. But with that said, if you are a beginner, take the conjugate principles. Again, the conjugate method, to me, is weak point training. So a lot of things that I see, for example, even on the gym, sorry, I feel a little sick today, but a lot of things that I see on the gym, on the commercial gym, is people doing the same type of curls, people doing, you know, leg presses, leg curls, but I don't see them touching a squat rack at all. Or I see them doing the Smith machine. Why do they do this? It's because they're afraid of the lift. They're afraid of the lift because they don't know proper form. They don't know proper form, they're scared. Vicious cycle. So that hinders the progress. After a while, you know, your body already gets to know what you're doing, and it just doesn't progress from there. So you need to change it up, and you need to be able to just provide something new to the body, where, you know, to get used to it, to adapt, right? And, you know, as a beginner, choose exercises that you really suck at. So if you really suck at the squat, even if you're just doing just the bar, you don't have to max out. Do your 8 reps, 10 reps, 15 reps, whatever you guys want to do, but choose something that you suck at. I mean, at least take that principle from the conjugate method and choose a new variation every single time, and just hammer it until you're very efficient at it. And I guarantee you, even though you're not maxing out, I guarantee you that you will get a whole lot better. Why? Because if, let's say, you suck at hamstring, your hamstrings suck, you know it sucks, then start doing some squats, start doing some RDLs. Even though you're doing 8 reps, 10 reps, 11 reps, you're gonna get more comfortable, and that's just gonna carry over to all your other lifts. You're gonna get a lot more stronger, and then all of a sudden you're gonna start deadlifting, and then all of a sudden you're gonna start squatting. You know, all these things, you know, just, you know, little victories add up to, you know, a huge victory at the end of the day. So apply those apply those principles to it. But yeah, guys, so basically that is it. That's all I have for you guys today, and I hope it's helpful. I am going to attach a notation at the end of the video so you guys can screenshot it if you guys want to. Then you guys can do your own programming. But to recap again, max effort in waves, 5-3-1s. Same thing goes for your bench. You want to choose a variation, either a wide stance, close grip, block, use a slingshot, floor press, dumbbells, you know, multiple variations. Pick your variations, do a wave, pick the wave that you want to do, whether it's 5-3-1 or, you know, 3-2-1 or 5-3-2s, whatever you want to do. Then after that, drop to 80%, do 3 times 5, 5 times 3, depending on fatigue, and then pick your accessory work. And that is it. So if you guys like this channel, make sure you guys like and subscribe. See ya.